In this video, we're going to replace the front bumper on this 2015 Hyundai Sonata. We're going to loosen up this top piece here, our radiator support cover. I'm going to use a Phillips screwdriver. Slowly back these out. So now we're on the inside and the passenger side of our bumper in the fender well area. We have 3 push clips, Phillips push clips, and we have 1 Phillips or 10mm bolt holding the bumper to the fender. So we're going to use a 10mm socket and take that bolt out. And then a Phillips screwdriver to remove these. All right, with a panel tool, take that out the rest of the way. Now here, you can rotate your wheel to make it a little easier for yourself, but you'll be rotating your wheel back and forth for left and right side. Just like to take the time, do it with the wheel straight. All right, on this side we have the same 3 clips and a 10mm or Phillips bolt up top. We're going to use a 10mm. And we'll get all 3 of these started, and then we'll come back with the panel tool and take them all the way out. Okay, now underneath we have a few bolts here, or Phillips. We're going to use the 10mm bolt option. We're going to take them right out. This one here is actually just a Phillips. Now this may be different than your car. Somebody may have replaced this. Whatever the case, if it's on the red, go ahead and take it out. Moving along, we have another 10mm Phillips. And then one more down this end here. Okay, we've come to the driver's side of our bumper here. This is our bumper fender gap. What we're going to do is grab right on the inside here. You can see it's already starting to pull out. We're going to pull away from the fender. We're going to do that. We're going to try and separate the bumper from the bumper bracket that's in behind it here. Just going to continue to pull out. You're going to try and work your hand in a little further as you go. You don't want to put too much strain and bend the bumper here at a hard angle. So just continue to pull out. Sometimes the quicker the motion, the easier it comes off. And again, we'll have more clips underneath the headlight here. So just do the same thing, just work those clips off. Now if you're doing this by yourself, what you want to do is loosely seat that back in place. Go over to the other side and do the same process on the other side. Grab our fender right here. We're going to pull outwards. We're going to do it one quick motion this time to show you the difference. All right, so we are going to keep working that out. And the same thing, our clips here underneath the headlight. Now for the most part, your bumper is free. Now, What we're gonna do is get to the front of the vehicle in the center and walk this bumper off. All right, so up top here, you may have to just kind of pry that upwards and off of that little tab on both sides. And then you can work your bumper straight off. Now at this point, you can either lean it on your leg and disconnect your fog lights, or if you've already done that, you can just go ahead and walk your bumper right off. If you've had to disconnect your fog lights and that's done, go ahead and grab your bumper from the center and just walk it straight back. Okay, to gain access behind here to our grille, we have to take out this foam. It's held in by 2 metal clips. We're going to use a panel tool and just pry these metal clips up. Now we can remove our foam, just lift it straight up and out. All right, so our grille is held in by some Phillips screws all the way around. We'll go ahead and take those out now. Now the screws that we're doing across the top here are to our radiator cover. So that is a separate piece that will come off. Now what we'll do is we'll stop here and we'll take this piece off out of the way here. It's just going to slide straight off. We can set that aside. Continuing around to our last 2 Phillips screws. Okay, so now that our grille is loose, it's still stuck in place and it's held in right here. You can see the red of the bumper poking through the grille. We're going to need to get in there and separate that area. We're going to do that with a panel tool. And we're going to want to push the red or the bumper away from the grille. Sometimes it's easiest to find a spot that is already started, like right here. You can see the bumper is already separated from the grille. Sometimes it's easiest to work in an area where you already have a little bit of room. So we'll start up in this corner here. Okay. So continuing to work our way around while keeping a little upwards pressure on the grille to keep it separated. Sometimes a little wiggle and a few others will pop free. You can see most of this top came out all by itself. So we'll continue to keep a little pressure separating the two. We'll continue to work around. We're stuck here. So we've switched over to a small pocket screwdriver. It's a little bit easier to get between the bumper and the grille. As you're doing this, continue to separate the grille from the bumper and continue to keep pressure separating the two. That way they don't fall back and clip back into place. And a couple of spots here fell back in. Not a big deal. Just be patient, take your time. Once you've got your grill free, that's what you should have. All right, now for our lower grill, we have, you can see here, we have the red bumper sticking through the lower grill. We have a couple of tabs here in the back holding these, locking them in place. We are going to use a combination of a panel tool, a small pocket screwdriver, and possibly even a pick tool. We're just looking to move that enough so that we can get this piece here unclipped. Okay. Once you have one or two started, go ahead and lift it up to where they will not seat back in unless you press them down. You want to keep them in that position while you work the rest of them. What we're doing is just coming in from the front, pushing that tab, that bumper red piece backwards, and separating it with a small pocket screwdriver from the grill. The red tab, get between the red tab and the grill and pull up the grill. And just continue that momentum all the way across. And then you'll get to a point where you should be able to just pull the rest of the tabs out. Okay, and now on to our fog lights. We have on the right hand side a couple of Phillips screws. It's going to be the same exact procedure for the other side. We'll start with these guys here. Those 4 screws removed, we can now remove the actual light from the fog light. We can set this aside. Okay, and now for our fog light trim, you can start with the Phillips screws. And you can try and wiggle it free. Sometimes it'll pop free, but you also have these clips. All right, so these clips are held in. These are, the red part is the bumper, the black part is the fog light. We're gonna get a small pocket screwdriver between the two and pry away the bumper part from our fog light and pull upwards. And we're gonna continue to do that all the way up. Okay, once you have your clips free, go ahead and remove your trim piece for your fog light. All right, so on the other side, we have the same Phillips screws. And we can lift our fog light out and set that aside. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3 screws holding on our fog light trim. Phillips screws, we'll take those out. And now we have some clips here, some bumper clips. Again, pocket screwdriver, between the fog light and the bumper pieces. Separate the two and pull upwards on the fog light trim. Remember to keep upward tension on this while you work around. Alright, once you have your clips out, you can remove your fog light trim, set that aside. Alright, so now we have our black trim piece on the bottom front lip of our bumper. I'm going to remove that also. I'm going to use a pocket screwdriver here, pocket flathead screwdriver. Our bumper has been bent, so this little clip here is already out. Naturally or normally we would start here. Because that's already out, gives us somewhere to hold on to while we separate our clips here from the bumper and just pull down. I'm going to do that all the way across. Some of them coming out easy, some of them need a little help with the flathead. Again, on the outside of the bumper, just keeping a little downward pressure while holding the trim piece with one hand. And then some of it will come free by itself. There we go. Just rotate out the bottom and the rest of the clips pop out. We're going to install now our fog light trim bracket here. I'm going to line up our Phillips screws. I'm just going to loosely set this in place. And what we have to do is push down the bracket onto the bumper and clip it in. Now this will kind of happen in stages. You get it lined up, and then you'll start to get a little closer, and then the clips will just all pop in. There will be some alignment issues you'll run into. Just move it around as you see fit. There is a pin at the bottom here. It kind of helps you align it. There you go. And once you get everything pretty much in its place, you can reach through the front of the bumper and the fog light area and squeeze. Okay, once you've got your clips in, what I like to do is just go ahead and run around it a second time, just to make sure everything's locked. Once you're satisfied that your clips are locked in, we'll go ahead and put our 3 Phillips screws back in place. Okay, now to put your fog light in place. It's as simple as lining up where your Phillips screws go. There's a pin back here, as well as down here, to help you line up. Once you're in position, you can go ahead and put your Phillips screws in. We're going to start down the bottom, or the inside. All right, that's one fog light in. Okay, now the other side, our fog light trim bracket. We're going to locate the pin in front here. And just slowly drop it onto the clips and slowly work it into place. Again, do this in a couple of passes. Make sure nothing gets bent or missed. Once you're as far as you can go without clipping them, now you can clip them into place. Reach around through the fog light opening and squeeze your trim piece into place. All right, and sometimes these clips just won't clip in. This one's okay. Like this one here just won't clip in. Sometimes what we can do is just push with a flathead or pocket screwdriver here just to push that trim piece underneath the clip just to make sure it locks into position. All right, now that your trim piece is in, we can put our 3 Phillips screws in. And now we can put our fog light into position. We're going to line up these pins with our fog light body, and that should help us ensure our other screw holes are lined up. Now we can go ahead and put our Phillips screws back in. All right, now we can install our lower grille. And this piece here is just a press in. So what I'm doing is lining up these two in the center, right here, and just lightly pressing. I'm not trying to lock anything in. What that's going to help me do is align the rest of them. And I'm just working all the way around, trying to get these clips lined up into their slots. Keeping a little downward pressure on the grille, not much. Okay, now that you've got about half of it lined up, what we're going to do, start in the corner and press down, or push down quickly to lock those in. We'll keep working our way out. And don't be surprised if you have to do this in a couple of stages. But one of the things you want to make sure is you have all the clips in the place and they're not bent over. If they are bent over, it's a little bit more of a pain. You'll have to go back and unclip and remove the grille. And once we are sure all of our clips are through, come back with a small pocket flathead just to assist in bringing the grille below the locking tabs here. If you try and work on your bumper like this and press your grille into place, this area of the bumper is really thin and it will push down. So what you're going to need to do is take one hand or some kind of pressure underneath and push upwards on the bumper itself while you push the grille into place. That will help lock these tabs and send them up far enough so that they're locking. All right, to install your grille, there are a couple of slots all the way around. We're going to look to poke the bumper pieces through those slots. We're also going to line up our Phillips screw holes on the sides. That should get you reasonably close. And if you're having trouble lining up the top here, go ahead and start at the bottom. And what we'll do is we'll actually clip in, if we can, a couple of those. All right, so now we have 2 clipped in at the bottom. We're going to run around and work on the outside. Okay, because the front of the bumper has a little bit of weight to it and it wants to hang down, and the grille is pretty rigid, we just have to push up the front to match and lock in. And you also have to take into account these little notches here. Your grille is going to fit around those. So with one hand on the bottom, pushing upwards while we push the grille down, we can try and get our locks, our bumper tab to lock in. And if you need a little help, we can try and use a flathead screwdriver, a small flathead screwdriver, to help get our tabs up and over the grille. Okay, now that we have our clips all into position on our top grille, we're going to put in our 4 Phillips screws. And now that we have our 4 Phillips screws in, we can move to the foam pad. And now we can install our foam pad. There is a right and a wrong way. The wings, I guess the U shape is going to go towards the top of the bumper. It's not going to go the other way. Sit it down onto these 2 tabs here. And these are going to take our press-on clips. We have our retainer clip here. These are just press fit. So we're going to get them as tight as we can by hand. The tighter to the foam you can get it, the better. So what we can do is take a pair of panel tool pliers here and just push down. There is a shoulder on this plastic piece, so it will stop you at some point. Just press down until you reach that point. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. On the side here, you can kind of see that shoulder on the plastic tab. We're going to put our retaining clip on here and push down. Okay, so our front lip trim piece here on our bumper is just going to push upwards and clip in. Our bumper has had a little bit of damage, so these 2 end clips, as well as the middle here, may not go in perfectly. But the process is going to be the same for yours. What I like to do is line up the clips in the middle best I can. That way you can center it left and right. And then what you can do is actually just push in a couple of these clips in the center. You can lock in 2 or 3 of them here in the middle. And then just work your way outward, squeezing into place. And on the side, you have a small little hook that will go into the bumper, just like so. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Just squeeze these into place. And put that hook in. Now what I like to do is just run across it twice. The second time taking another couple of seconds per clip and just making sure they're seated into position. Okay, now we can install our top radiator support cover. And it's going to slide down onto these tabs. They're going to go into this panel like that. I'm going to do that all the way across. I'm just going to get them started. And then we're going to push down. And a good way to tell if you're down all the way across, is look where your Phillips screws go. This piece here and the top of the grille, they should be touching together. If there's a gap in there, then you're not seated all the way in, and you can address that. Ours look pretty good. You can go ahead and put our Phillips screws in. Okay, so we're going to walk our bumper up to the vehicle. So now we're going to go ahead and reattach our fog lights and then put our bumper back on. We're going to align the center with our hood latch and put our radiator support cover over the hood latch. That should get us somewhere centered close. Now we can move over to our headlights. Let's see if our headlights fit in. They look pretty good on both sides. That gap here looks pretty good. So what we can do now is pick a side. We're going to start on this side here. We have some tabs on the bumper. These tabs need to go into the tabs underneath the headlight. We also have tabs down the side of the bumper that will need to go into our bumper bracket on the fender. So we're going to lift our bumper up until those tabs look like they want to go into position. Same thing on the side. We're going to align those tabs. And we're just going to give it a good smack into position. And And we'll do the same on the other side. Okay, so on this side, again, we're going to look for our tabs to go in underneath our headlight and our tabs to go on our bumper bracket and our fender. You may have to pull up slightly to get them into position. Looks pretty good. We'll give it a little hit. Looks good. All right, so up top here on our radiator support cover, we have our push clips to put back in place. We're going to put in our 10 mil bolt. Okay, so on the inside of our bumper lip here, we have 1, 2, 3 push clips we can reinstall. These are going to hold our fender liner to the bumper. And then straight up from the third is where our 10 millimeter bolt's going to go back in. We can put our push pins back in, holding our fender liner to our bumper on this side now. And then straight up from here is our 10 mil bolt.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.